back to CSI Crime Scene Investigation, where we wrap our yellow tape and investigate what was the reason why they deleted the lost books, the so-called lost books of the Bible. Well, just want to give you some updates on what's going on with the Men in Power organization. Just want to let you know this is Black History Month, as well as we call it Hebrew History Month, and we will have some special guests going on. Got some ladies that's going to talk about their hair care products in the natural hair state. That's going to be this month. We'll let you know, give you some updates when that show is scheduled to air. And we will be live. Want all the ladies to come out and listen up to this show because we're going to have some powerful information on your natural hair, what to use and what not to use that destroys your hair. All products are not equally for you to use. So we will be having that information on breakage, perms, just a whole lot of things. What should you do? Our people are not supposed to do this that we try to see the Gentiles do. So because of that, this is why we're destroying our hair. And yes, we've destroyed our hair in the men as well, putting all the jerry curls, the perms in, all those things. And I'm a witness to that because I had lost my hair due to the perms back in the late 70s. So we're going to give you more information on that. Stay tuned. Probably on Monday or Saturday night, we'll give you some information on when that will air and the organization that will be bringing you the information on our people's hair. And the last week for the month of February, we will be broadcasting and simulcasting from WJMG 92.1 on your FM dial. We will have Mr. Vernon C. Floyd with us for another interview. It's always a pleasure to have him with us. He is the owner of Circuit Broadcasting Company right here in Hattiesburg, Mississippi. He will be with us for the last week in February, so stay tuned. We will be giving you the date and time of that particular interview. That's all here on for the month of February. The book of Jubilees, chapter 34. If you'd like to join in on our show conversation while we are here live and you're listening via phone, you just press 1 on your phone and we'll plug you right into our show conversation. If you have any comments, testimonies, and you're listening via computer, you can give us a call while we are here live at 347-205-9279. And for those of you all who have music, want to share your talents, you can send an MP3 of your music to Men Empowered to Prosper at yahoo.com. And of course, you can always communicate with us by using that same email. Don't forget, you can always get in contact with us when we're not on the air live at 504-484-9388 or 601-297-2927. The book of Jubilees, chapter 34, verse 1. This is Jacob, his sons and servants slew the kings of the Amorites. Verse 1. And in the 6th year of the week of the 44th Jubilee, Jacob sent his sons to pasture their sheep and his servants with them to the pastures of Shechem. Verse 2. And the 7 kings of the Amorites assembled themselves together against them to slay them, hiding themselves under the trees, and to take their cattle as a prey. And Jacob and Levi and the Most High and Joseph were in the house of Yiddish, their father, for their spirit was sorrowful, and they could not leave him. And Benjamin was the youngest, for this reason remained with his father. And there came the kings of Tupah, and the kings of Ares, the kings of Sergan, and the kings of Silo. What does this remind you? I believe this same reading is in the book of Jasher that we have read about a year or so back. And the kings of Gath, and the kings of Betharon, and the king of Malachis, and all those who dwelt in these mountains, and who dwelt in the woods and in the land of Canaan. Verse 5. And they announced this to Jacob, saying, Behold, the kings of the Amorites have surrounded your sons and plundered their herd. Okay, verse 6. Verse 6 of the book of Jubilees, chapter 34. And he arose from his house, he and his 3 sons, and all the servants of his father, and his own servants. And he went against them with 6,000 men who came swords. Verse 7. And he slew them in the pasture of Shechem, and pursued those who fled. And he slew them with the edge of the sword. And he slew Aresa, and Tapha, and Sarega, and Silo, and Amaraskar, and Gazah, and he recovered his herd. Verse 8. And he bailed over them and imposed tribute on them, that they should pay him tribute, 5 fruit products of their land. And he built Robel and Tanatros. Verse 9. And he returned to Shalom and made shalom with him, and they became his servants until the day that he and his sons went down into Egypt. Verse 10. And in the 70th year of the week, he sent Joseph to learn about the welfare of his brothers from the house to the land of Shechem, and he found them in the land of Jordan. Verse 11. And they dealt treacherously with him and formed a plot against him to slay him. But changing their minds, they sold him to the Ishmaelites merchants, and they brought him down into Egypt, and they sold him to Potiphar, and the eunuch of Pharaoh, the chief of the cooks, priest of the city of Uz. Verse 12. And the sons of Jacob slaughtered a kid, and dipped the coat of Joseph in the blood, and sent it to Jacob their father on the 10th of the 7th month. Verse 13. And he mourned all that night, for they had brought it to him in the evening, and he became feverish with mourning for his death. And he said, An evil beast has devoured Joseph. And all the members of his house mourned with him that day, and they grieving and mourning with him all that day. 14. And his sons and his daughter rose up to comfort him, but he refused to be comforted for his son. Verse 15. And on that day Belial heard that Joseph had perished, and she died mourning him. And she was living in Quaphrates, that's Quaphratef. And Diana also his daughter died after Joseph had perished. Verse 16. And there came these 3 mourning upon Israel in 1 month, and they buried Belial over against tomb of Rachel, and Diana also his daughter they buried there. Verse 17. And he mourned for Joseph 1 year, and did not cease, for he said, Let me go down to the grave mourning for my son. Verse 18. For this reason it is ordained for the children of Israel that they should afflict themselves on the 10th of the 7th month, on the day that the news which made him weep for Joseph came to Jacob his father, that they should make atonement for themselves thereon, with a young goat on the 10th of the 70th month, once a year, for their sins, for they had grieved the affliction of their fathers regarding Joseph, his son. Verse 19. And this day grieve thereon for their sins, and for all their transgressions, and for all their errors, so that they might cleanse themselves on that day once a year. Verse 20. And after Joseph perished, the sons of Jacob took unto themselves wives. The name of Reuben's wife is Ada, and the name of Simeon's wife is Adabo, and a Canaanite, and the name of Levi's wife is Milcah, of the daughter of Aaron, of the seed of the sons of Turan, and the name of Yehuda's wife, Bestru, a Canaanite, and the name of Issachar's wife was Hesedah, and the name of Zebulun's wife, Nimah, and the name of Dan's wife, Agag, and the name of Naphtali's wife, Rasiu of Mesopotamia, and the name of Gad's wife, Makkah, and the name of Asher's wife, Injo, and the name of Joseph's wife, Asinah. I'm pronouncing these the Hebrew English translation out of another translation on today. Azareth, the Egyptian, and the name of Benjamin's wife was Jasaka. And Simeon repented and took a second wife from Mesopotamia as his brothers. And Simeon repented and took a second wife from Mesopotamia as his brothers. All right, we'll get into 35 on next week, and we may just go ahead and pick back up on that verse 21 and look into more details of that what happened in those areas with the brothers and their wives. Okay, this is Brother Malachi, and we're going to be right back with much more messages. And here's another track from PZ right here on CSI.
I had this on my mind, so I had to put this down, you feel me? I'm just gonna give it to y'all. I don't know what CD this is going on, you feel me? But the Rawak was speaking, so I had to let it go, you hear me? Real talk, listen.
I follow no one. I don't need anyone to take care of me. I've got my own mindset when it comes to you.
My people think I joined the cult, they think I'm losing it. They got their Bibles, but they Bibles, they ain't using it. They go to church every Sunday, but look, it's useless. I read them scriptures and they under Satan's tutelage. You take care of me. They say pray to Jesus, but he can't compete. They claim to have wisdom, but they just out cheap.